On our last tool of emphasis, which is the action-specific tool of emphasis, meaning the tool of emphasis that only appears on actions.
Okay.
And that is the noon of emphasis, specifically a noon with a shadda like this.
Okay.
So, a noon of emphasis attaches to the end of present tense actions.
So only present tense?
Only present tense and only the end.
Okay.
Right, remember the la and the ba that we saw earlier, those come at the beginning of words?
Yeah.
The noon is a bit different because it attaches to the end, and it attaches only to present tense actions.
Okay.
And then it causes some changes to the ending indicators, right, which is important because the ending indicators tell us about the embedded doers.
Right.
So here are the changes that happen when a noon of emphasis attaches to a present tense action. So, if the word normally ends in una, right? If our present tense action normally ends in una, and then you attach a noon of emphasis to it, that noon of emphasis will knock off the una, and it'll replace it with a u.
Okay.
We'll go over these rules theoretically, and then we'll look at the chart.
Okay.
Okay. And then if the noon of emphasis attaches to a present tense action that normally ends in a u, the noon will knock off that u and replace it with a.
Okay.
So let's look.
What about other, like the other ending indicators? So we had like the sukun and the na for the plural feminine, or the ani for the pair. What about those ones?
You won't really see noon of emphasis attaching to those. So those were less common in the first place.
Right.
And so you just won't really see that happening.
Okay, so we're only concerned with ones that end in una or u.
U and una, right? Which we know from experience that those are the most common ones anyways. Okay, so let's look at what we were talking about earlier. So here we have our normal action, yukhriju, normally ending in a u. What happens when we attach our noon of emphasis? It'll turn that u into a. So yukhriju becomes yukhrijanna.
And so yukhrijanna is the emphasized version of yukhriju.
It's the emphasized version of yukhriju. So if you come across the word yukhrijanna in the Quran, right, you see the noon of emphasis, and you know, working backwards, you know that the a used to be a u.
And so I see that there's ya and u, which tell ya and what used to be u.
What
and
used
so
to
that
be
tells me that it's he.
It's he, the emphasized form of huwa, or he.
Okay.
Here we have tukhriju, right? Ends in a u, but what happens when you attach that noon of emphasis? The u gets knocked off and is replaced with a.
Okay.
So now we see ta plus u, which tells us what?
He, you, she, it, they.
You, she, it, they. Right, that combination one. Here again we see nukhriju, ends in a u. We attach the noon of emphasis here. The u gets knocked off and replaced with a.
Okay.
So na plus u tells us
we.
And then here we have ukhriju, which is also ending in u. Attach our noon of emphasis. U gets knocked off, replaced with a. So a plus u tells us
I.
Are we clear on that? The changes that happen when things end in a u?
Yeah.
So the u is transformed to an a when you have a noon attached to it.
Okay.
And then the changes that occur when it ends in a una, we said that the una gets knocked off and replaced with a u.
Oh.
So it's kind of confusing because u normally tells us
He,
she,
they.
Yeah, or we or I,
Mm-hmm.
right? But now, if you see a noon of emphasis attached, it's telling us they,
Okay.
right? Ya plus una is telling us they. And again, when we have ta plus una, the una gets knocked off and replaced with a u when you have a noon of emphasis.
Okay.
So ta plus una tells us you all.
It's you all, yeah.
Good.
So, I guess the place where there's like potential for confusion is he versus they and you versus you all.
Yeah, he versus they, because we're going to incline to say, oh, I see a ya plus a u, which is he, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we know that because there's a noon of emphasis there, that u was actually originally a una.
Okay.
So it's not he, it's actually they,
Okay.
right? And then like you said, tukhriju and tukhrijuna, right? We're going to end up with a ta plus a u here, which we're going to want to say, hey, looks like this. Ta plus u is she, it, they. She, you, it, they. So there's potential for confusion there as well. But again, when you see a nun of emphasis, you want to work backwards and say what was originally there before it was knocked off.
Okay.
Kalir. Okay. So here's your modified chart, right? Ya plus enna, ya plus unna.
Okay.
Right? It tells you what all the permutations are for here with the changes. Okay. And then one more thing to go over. When we see the nun of emphasis preceded by ala, that's emphasized forbidding.
Oh.
Right? So nun of emphasis and ala before it, that's a way of emphasizing forbidding.
So, like, okay, so for an example, la tamutunna, how is tamutunna bald? Like, how does it look? How does the bald action with a nun of emphasis look different than a normal action with a with a nun emphasis?
So if you see a la before a nun of emphasis, it's always going to be forbidding. That's all you need to know.
So we can't tell if it's bald or normal?
You can't really, but it's never going to be normal because it's always going to be forbidding.
Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't show it in any way.
So it doesn't show its baldness?
It doesn't really show its baldness, but the la, by virtue of the la being there, you know that it's a forbidding instantly, right? So la tamutunna, and what's the pronoun embedded in tamutunna? We have a ta plus a.
Okay, so if we hide the nun of emphasis, the letter before it has a u, it's a unna, and so u means it used to be una, right?
U, yeah, exactly. U tells us it used to be una, so ta plus una means
you all.
You all, right? So this is don't you all dare die except as believers.
Okay.
And the way we're emphasizing, right, the way we're translating that nun of emphasis is don't you dare.
Okay.
So normally forbidding translates as don't do this.
Mm-hmm.
When we emphasize a forbidding, we end up with don't you dare.
Okay.
Okay. Ready for some practice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to try to figure out the pronouns in these actions and then we'll translate. So la taqulunna.
All right, so so there's a u before the nun of emphasis.
Okay, which tells us it used to be what?
Una.
Una, and then
ta plus una is you all.
Good. Ta plus una is you all. And then how are we going to translate this? Starting with a la, which tells us instantly that it's what?
Forbidding.
Forbidding, right? So how are we going to translate? How would we translate a normal forbidding? La taqulunna. You all
don't say.
Yeah, you all don't say. And then the way we emphasize a forbidding is
don't you dare.
Yeah. So don't you dare say. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 2. لأرسلنه.
So who is the touch pronoun?
Right, who's an attached pronoun, and then we have ending in the na, which is the
emphasizer nun.
Emphasizer nun, and then what do we have on the last letter?
A,
which tells us it used to be
u.
U, right? So we have a u, and then our first letter is what?
Is a hamza.
Is a hamza. So we have hamza plus u, which tells us
I. And then this is la.
Do you know what this la is? We actually studied it earlier this chapter.
This is la, like negation, right?
No, it's not negation. So this is just a la. There's no alif following it.
But it looks just like the one on top.
No, this one has a hamza, right? The hamza is sitting on... So this is la plus hamza, like that.
Oh.
And the hamza is just sitting inside the la, like that.
Oh, so that's not la of forbidding.
It's not la forbidding.
Oh, so that's la of emphasis.
It's a la of emphasis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was la of forbidding, we would have seen la, and then ursilannahu, like that.
Oh, okay.
So you would have seen an alif and then a hamza.
Okay.
But here it's just a hamza. La plus hamza. Is that clear?
Okay.
Because so we said the embedded doer is la. Embedded doer is I.
Mm-hmm.
And then the translation would be what?
Ursilu is I send.
Uh-huh.
I definitely send?
Yeah. And actually, when you have a noon of emphasis, you're always going to translate as future tense.
Okay, so I will definitely send?
Yeah, I will definitely. And it's like double definitely because we have a noon of emphasis and a lav emphasis.
Okay.
Send, and then we have who.
Him or it.
Yeah, receiver, him or it. Okay, number 3. لنسمعن.
So this is another lav emphasis, right?
Right, starting with a lav emphasis and ending with a what?
Noon of emphasis.
Noon of emphasis. So we have 2 tools of emphasis here. And then nasma'a, ending in a what?
Fatha.
Which tells us it used
to be u.
U. So our beginning is noon and our ending is u, which tells us
We.
Right? And then how are we going to translate this?
We will definitely hear.
Good. We, starting with our doer, and then will, because it always translates as future, and then definitely to capture the emphasis, and then sami'a means to hear. We will definitely hear. Okay, number 4. لَيُسْأَلُنَّ.
So there's lav emphasis
At the beginning.
and noon of emphasis.
At the end. Okay.
And then the u tells us it used to be una.
Good. U tells us it used to be una. So our beginning is ya, our ending is una, which tells us
They.
So our embedded doer is they. And then how are we going to translate?
They will definitely ask.
Good. They will definitely. Not to ask, actually. I want you to pay attention to the harakat on the rest of the world. They will definitely yus'alun.
Oh, it's passive because of the u'a.
Right, it's present tense, right? And then we have a u on the first letter and a on the second to last. So they will definitely not ask, but
be asked.
Be asked. Good. Don't unlearn passives now. Still applies. Okay, and then last one, لَيُضِلَّنَّهُمْ.
Lav emphasis at the beginning.
Okay.
Attached pronoun at the end.
Home is our attached pronoun.
And then noon of emphasis.
Noon of emphasis.
And then there's a fatha before it.
Right.
So that used to be an u.
Used to be an u, and then?
So ya and u is he, it.
Yeah, and u is he or it. And then translation?
He, it will definitely.
Will?
Is to misguide.
Yeah, will definitely misguide. Are you sure it's not be misguided?
No, because this is u'i, not u'a.
It's u'i, not u'a, so it's not passive. Old trick.
So he will definitely misguide them.
And then we translate our receiver. He will definitely misguide them. We clear on noon of emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
Attaches to the end of what kind of action?
Present tense.
Present tense. And what changes does it cause?
So if the action originally ended in a una, it becomes a u.
Right.
And if it originally ended in a u, it becomes an a.
Becomes an a. And then what happens when we see a la coming before a word with a noon of emphasis on it?
Wait,
la.
what kind of la? Oh, la, like,
with la, like
that la.
Yeah.
It's a forbidding. It's always going to be forbidding and translates as don't you dare.
Right, it's forbidding, so don't you dare. And then it normally, so if we don't see a da before it, how does it translate?
It's in the future. Will definitely.
Yeah, so will definitely. Very good.